Hey there, crazy kids. I am the Good Old Gamer, and welcome to Steamed. This is a series in which I take a 20-minute first look at a random game from my Steam library and give you guys my first impressions. This, of course, is Dear Esther, and I have not experienced this. But it has been a bit of a controversial title. I'm pretty sure that this spawned the category of walking simulator back when it came out because people considered it an interactive piece of media, but not necessarily a game by traditional standards anyway. And I've always thought it would be interesting to check out this game, so I thought, why not include this in the series? We'll take a look at the first 20 minutes and see what it's all about. So, I'm going to go ahead and start my 20-minute timer here, and we will begin the game now. Alright, so lighthouse, buoy, caves, and beacon. I'm guessing the lighthouse is what we begin with, and we can unlock these areas later. So let's begin with the lighthouse. Play this chapter, yes.
Dear Esther, the morning after I was washed ashore, salt in my ears, sand in my mouth, and the waves always at my ankles, I felt as though everything had conspired to this one last shipwreck. I remembered nothing but water, stones in my belly and my shoes, threatening to drag me under to where only the most listless of creatures swim.
So I'm able to move the camera, look around. It is a beautiful, beautiful landscape out here. So I guess we're just going to walk around and let the story happen as it happens. From what I know of this game, what little of it I know, you can walk around in different areas and the story will happen as you come to different parts of the scenery. So you can have the story happen in a random way compared to somebody else, depending on where you go and what you look at. There is a bit of screen tearing. Let's check the options real quick. I'm not really sure how to change that. Maybe put some anti-aliasing on there. I don't know. Whatever. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'll get my timer going again. The game crashed on me when I messed with the settings, so I don't think we'll be doing that again. Anyways, let's continue on. Like I said, um, based on where you look around is where more of the story happens. There's a bit of screen tearing. I apologize for that, but I don't really know how to fix it, so we're just going to have to ignore it. Automatic flashlight, I didn't turn that on. It just happened. Oh, and I can focus using the left mouse button. Of course, moving around is as it is in almost every game, WASD. Ooh, ugly, ugly toilet. I'm not sure if focusing in on things activates any kind of story, or I don't think you can interact with anything. I think you just walk around until the story happens again. More of the narration happens, as far as I know. Well, I'm guessing nothing's happening in here. So we'll continue on. Whoa. Oh, is there a hole in the ground, or... That was weird. My character sunk into the ground for some reason. Maybe they just crouched automatically, or I hit a button, I don't know. And there's no jumping, as far as I know. Well, looks like we've got a branching path. We can go up, and I'm guessing over to the lighthouse, or we can go down this path here. Let's go up to the lighthouse, just because we can, and we get a pretty view as we're going. I do like the look of the game. I wish the screen tearing wouldn't happen. It's not too bad, but it is visible enough to notice, and that's kind of annoying. But there's probably a way to get around it, and I just don't know how. I don't know what sort of setting I have to trigger to fix that, and last time I messed with settings, it crashed the game, so I'm
Donnelly
not going
reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. How disappointed he must have been with their chatter. Perhaps now, when all that haunts the ocean is the rubbish dumped from the tankers, he'd find more peace. They say he threw his arms wide in a valley on the south side, and the cliff opened up to provide him shelter. They say he died of fever 116 years later. The shepherds left gifts for him at the mouth of the cave, but Donnelly records they never claimed to have seen him. I have visited the cave and I have left my gifts, but like them, I appear to be an unworthy subject of his solitude.
So that was because of this cave here, apparently. Should we go in here and check this cave out, guys? I think we shall. Funny how the flashlight doesn't work in here, but it would in that shed. I don't know. Oh, I see. He must live off down that way somewhere. Interesting. Well, we can't go any farther because, like I said, there's no jumping, as far as I'm aware. So back we go. This is very interesting. I appreciate, I don't know, walking simulators, games, whatever you want to call these sorts of things. I really appreciate these. There's another paint can. Some people seem to have issue with it. They don't like the fact that they're considered games or whatever. I honestly don't mind. I like this sort of interactive media. I like when developers try things different than just the standard, you know, regular shooter or platformer or whatever. I like when they take chances, take risks, tell narratives, tell stories in a way that still provides a sort of interaction for the player, you know? Because books, movies, those types of media don't really allow for that. And games, or in this case walking simulators, whatever you want to call them, do. And I slid down there by accident, so I guess we're going to be down here on the beach now. Hope you guys don't mind. I was going to go to the lighthouse, but I guess that's not going to be a thing unless we find another way over there, which is possible. Some people I've heard don't like Dear Esther because they find it to be boring. There's not a lot to do other than walk around, but like I said, I like the narrative experience. I like coming across random things and having a story come out of the blue, depending on the things I do, you know.
There was once talk of a wind farm out here, away from the rage and the intolerance of the masses. The sea, they said, is too rough for the turbines to stand. They clearly never came here to experience the becalming for themselves. Personally, I would have supported it. turbines would be a fitting contemporary refuge for a hermit. The revolution and the permanence.
I also like the narrator for these games. Gone Home had a really good narrator in that sister or whatever, and the Stanley Parable had an immensely funny narrator with the random things you could do in that game. And I do like the narrator in this one so far. Something about his, I don't know, voice or accent or whatever. So I guess we can find our way back up. It's just a nice little detour.
A wonderful sight. The moon cresting the junction between the cliff path and the stone circle. It cast a shadow of the ridge across the beach, all the world as if you had signed your name in untidy handwriting.
Cool, cool. I think you have to be in the right kind of mindset for something like this. You know? If you're, I don't know, a typical Call of Duty kind of player and you're looking for Call of Duty kind of
When
action...
someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boat, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection, and wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this, to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh.
Okay, so there's an infection going on. That's lovely. I wonder if we're going to make it to the lighthouse in time. Before my timer runs out. Probably not.
I quote directly, a motley lot with little to recommend them. I have now spent 3 days in their company. That is, I fear, enough for any man not born amongst them. Despite their tedious inclination to quote scripture, they seem to me the most godforsaken of all the inhabitants of the Outer Isles. Indeed, in this case, the very gravity of that term, forsaken by God, seems to find its very apex. It appears to me that Donnelly, too, found those who wander this shoreline to be adrift from any chance of redemption. Did he include himself in that, I wonder?
Where am I going? I have no idea. Well, I'm certainly not going to make it to the lighthouse if I'm going this way. Well, I don't know. I guess I'll go down this way.
Dear Esther, I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, He'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life.
Okay. Wonder if this is the Hermit's Cave from the other end that we saw before. Place we couldn't get to. Oh, there's the lighthouse. Yeah, we're not going to make it over there. I really don't think. But let's check out this cave.
I threw my arms wide and the cliff opened out before me, making this rough home. I transferred my belongings from the bothy on the mount and tried to live here instead. It was cold at night, and the sea lapped at the entrance at high tide. To climb the peak, I must first venture even deeper into the veins of the island, where the signals are blocked altogether. Only then will I understand them, when I stand on the summit and they flow into me, uncorrupted.
Okay, so apparently I had an issue with my timer in that it either went off and I didn't hear it, or it went off but it was set to mute or something, because it's not going like it was before. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there, and we'll just hope and pray that it's close to 20 minutes or so. Anyways, this has been Dear Esther. Like I've said, as we've been walking around in this, I enjoy interactive media like this, whether you want to call them games, walking simulators, whatever. I enjoy, I don't know, smelling the roses, if you want to call it like that, you know, taking in the sights, listening to the story that the developer is telling you, that sort of thing. So I'm into it. I dig it. I like it, but I leave it up to you guys if you like it or not. Maybe this is something you're into. Maybe you hadn't heard of Dear Esther before and now you kind of want to see more of it. Maybe you want to steer clear of it now that you know what it is. I leave that up to you. I'm into it. I dig it. The one issue that I have is that, well, of course, well, there's a couple issues that I have with it, and they're mostly on the technical side. The first issue I have with it is that if I change the options, I really wish it wouldn't crash the game. That would be nice. The second issue I have is with the lines, the screen tearing. I'm not sure exactly what causes that. Maybe you guys know what setting I could use to change that. But that's kind of half and half. I don't count that too much against the game because it's my lack of technological knowledge to fix it. But on the other hand, you know, I kind of wish the game didn't have it to begin with, but it's probably something more to do with my machine or my lack of proper settings or something. So I enjoyed it. I would definitely play more of this. I don't think it's going to be I don't think it would be a very long game. Like I said, you can get it on Steam for the usual price of $9.99, about $10 US, or your regional equivalent. Of course, if you're going to get it, it's going to be, since it's on Steam, there's no doubt going to be a Steam sale eventually, and you can get it for less, but $10 is the average price for it right now. And that's going to do it, I guess, for the first real gameplay episode of my new series called Steamed. And this has been Dear Esther. I am the Good Old Gamer. Thanks for watching, boys and girls. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. If you played it before, let me know what you think of it. If you haven't played it before, would you play it? That sort of thing. Feel free to have a discussion, and I'm going to go ahead and end this video and figure out my damn timer so next time it works better. But that'll be it for now. Bye, guys.